Welcome to the Aced It podcast, where we turn science into sense. This is season 10, and in this season, we will provide 10 knowledge-packed episodes with the hopes of helping listeners understand what we can all learn from current research on overdose. It's a hard topic to discuss, but critically important information to know. So I am honored that you're with us. I'm Danielle Rudes, your host, and this is Aced It. The period following incarceration presents significant challenges for individuals re-entering or reintegrating into society, with the persistent risk of overdose standing as a critical concern. This episode delves into recent research shedding light on this issue, drawing from studies that highlight the complexities and risks faced by those released from correctional facilities. The criminalization of substance use disorders has led to a large population being incarcerated, exacerbating health challenges for individuals with opioid dependency. Factors such as limited access to harm reduction resources, heightened stress and trauma, and inadequate health care within correctional facilities contribute to these challenges. Importantly, the absence of evidence-based treatment for opioid use disorder during incarceration increases the likelihood of risky drug use and fatal relapse post-release. Opioid-related overdose is the leading cause of death among individuals recently released from incarceration. In North Carolina, Rana Parwala and colleagues 2018 conducted a study involving 229,274 individuals released between 2000 and 2015, specifically looking at the risk of overdose death after release. Of these individuals, 1,329 passed away from an overdose, highlighting a substantially increased risk compared to the general population of North Carolina residents. The findings showed that immediately after release, the formerly incarcerated were 40 times more likely to die from overdose within the first 2 weeks compared to the general population. This elevated risk persisted, with former residents remaining 11 times more likely to overdose after 1 year and 8.3 times more likely over the entire follow-up period. Similarly, Pizzicato and colleagues 2018 examined mortality risks among individuals released from carceral institutions in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, between 2010 and 2016. Their findings showed that out of 82,780 released individuals, 3% died from various causes, with overdose accounting for 33% of those deaths. The study highlighted a notably higher risk of overdose death among the recently incarcerated, particularly within the initial weeks post-release. Race and ethnicity emerged as significant factors influencing overdose risk post-release. White, non-Hispanic individuals were found to face a staggering 5.88 times higher risk of overdose death compared to their Black, non-Hispanic, and Hispanic counterparts in Philadelphia. Additionally, individuals suffering from serious mental illness were identified as particularly vulnerable to overdose upon release. Their findings emphasize the critical need for preventative measures, such as behavioral health treatment, naloxone distribution, and supportive services to reduce overdose deaths among individuals transitioning from carceral environments back into communities. It is especially important to shed light on the fact that community and conditions in which individuals may encounter may play a part in overdose or relapse among those who have been recently released from jail or prison. In a study by Binswanger and colleagues 2012, they look at just that. They aim to understand and explore the drug use histories of former carceral residents, their perceptions of risk and overdose, and more importantly, what they have personally experienced. The study reveals that many former residents with a history of substance use disorders and criminal drug charges face daunting challenges upon release into communities marked by significant social and economic hardships, minimal structure, and widespread drug availability. These conditions make it exceedingly difficult for these individuals to abstain from drugs and alcohol. Participants described reentry environments characterized by limited social and family support, financial instability, and inadequate housing, which serve as a constant trigger or triggers for drug use among those predisposed to substance use disorders. Despite periods of relative abstinence during incarceration, many participants reported an immediate return to drug use upon release, driven by the pervasive environmental cues in the community. Here's a quote. "I just don't go around nobody. It's kind of hard because my whole family gets high," unquote. And another quote, "Most people relapse in the first 6 months because it's so stressful, because they have no help. There's no financial help to even get housing or to buy clothes for work or a bus pass or even to try to look for a job," unquote. And another quote, "There's a lot of drug activity, kind of drug users and stuff like that at the shelter, and it's kind of hard there. I mean, people will walk up to me and ask, 'Oh, you want to buy some weed? What are you looking for?' I try and avoid those situations, those people. I said, no, I'm not looking. And I just kind of walk away and I go to a different area or something like that. I'm really not tempted to use any drugs right now because I'm trying to get my life on a straight path. But people have offered to get me high for free. Hey, you want to smoke? You want to hit this pipe? You want to smoke a joint? Stuff like that. And just avoiding it, trying to, keep myself out of those situations is really the only way I've been I focus. I think about my son, and drugs is really what took me into prison. So I don't want to use drugs because they will probably take me back to prison. So I'm trying to stop myself from going in a circle." End quote. These are just some of the experiences of those who participated in this study. Many highlighted several key resources that they found beneficial and avoiding overdose shortly after their release. These included prioritizing family relationships, especially those with children, support from religious organizations and spirituality, living in housing away from shelters, support from friends, participation in highly structured residential treatment programs, access to community resources and organizations, and involvement in 12-step programs. Individuals leaving prison face immense challenges, especially with the risk of overdose looming large. From North Carolina to Philadelphia and beyond, the studies highlight how former residents struggle in communities lacking support and fraught with drug temptations. The stories shared by participants vividly illustrate the uphill battle they face, trying to stay clean while surrounded by old triggers and new hardships. Family support, structured programs, and community resources emerge as crucial lifelines in their journey towards stability and sobriety. It is vital that we prioritize accessible treatment, supportive housing, and strategies like naloxone distribution to prevent overdose deaths. By fostering these supports and understanding the realities of reentry, we can truly make a difference in the lives of those striving to rebuild their lives after incarceration. Thank you for listening to the Aced It podcast. We love hearing from you. So if you have comments, topics to suggest, or some science you'd like us to cover in a future season, please write me, Danielle Rudes at Sam Houston State University. My email is drudes@shsu.edu. And as always, thank you to the Justice Community Opioid Innovation Network, or JCOIN's Coordination and Translation Center, funded by the National Institute on Drug Abuse, housed at George Mason University, where this podcast originated. Thank you to our fabulous scriptwriters, Dr. Chelsea Narvi from Sam Houston State University and SHSU master student Jalen Magana. And a huge and heartfelt thank you to Jason Luchin and the team at Slonky LLC for their wonderful production, as always. Tune in again soon for another episode of Aced It.